So we're here to talk about auspicious symbols. As I said, my name is Alison DeNicola, and in addition to being an author, teacher, energy healer, doing lots of different kinds of things, I'm also the National Sales and Marketing Manager at US Games, which is the premier publisher of tarot. They are here in the US. We publish the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, as well as about 450 other titles. So I'm heavily involved in the world of oracles and divination. Tarot was the first thing that I actually started with way back about 20 years ago, when my spiritual journey really started to get accelerated. And I always share that with people because that was kind of the entry point for me. So cards are really part of practices that I do with literally everything. So I started with the tarot. I have yet to write a tarot deck. I've written several books, helped writing other people's books, but I seem to be consistently creating down this road of symbolism and of healing energies. So, and this card deck is no different. So that's my brief introduction. And my intention for being here today is to not only share the power of auspicious symbols that come in all forms. We all probably have something that we are connected to, especially in this deck, whether it's when you see, when you see a ladybug or a four-leaf clover, or maybe there's a favorite image from different cultures, like the Ankh, or even a fortune cookie, which is a completely American invention. We have that association of auspiciousness, of good luck, of abundance. And my intention is to share with you some kind of ideas about that, and also how you can expand that in your life. Because let's face it, the world out there is quite challenging these days. I know a lot of people are, kind of, in those places where they're feeling crunched. We're on the new earth now. Things are changing, things are shifting. Our thoughts, our energy, our vibrational level is really important. So as we align with things that are very auspicious, positive, and informing in those ways, we have the ability to move ourselves into that place, right? We want to move out of the muck, as they say, and we want to rise higher. So that's my intention today, to share a few things with you, and I welcome questions. So along the way, if you have questions, we'll go through them at the end. So just type them into the chat. If there's anything that comes up, I'm happy to come back and cover that. So I did also want to say that I am not the only creator of this card deck. Sabina Espinette, who is my partner, is an incredible artist, and we worked on this together. And so what happened during COVID was we started to write this card deck we called it Lucky Charms. That was kind of our code name for it. And since so many people were suffering, and there was so much unease in the world, and so much that we didn't know at that point in time, we felt really strongly that this card deck really needed to have a healing slant to it. Really had to have some healing elements in it, because that's really what, in essence, we need to be doing, right? When we look out into the broader world, all of the things that are happening that are affecting our daily lives, right? Whether it's war, whether it's combativeness in politics, all of those things, we're not going to be talking about that. But we realize that all we can do is affect change for ourselves sometimes, right? Sometimes it's out of our hands. We can't affect that larger change. We start with ourselves. And as we start with ourselves, we go outward, and we're able to make positive changes within ourselves, and then hopefully influence those around us. And that's how we make the shift here on the earth. So this card deck contains lots of different lucky charms, talismans, totems, and healing symbols, which are as old as time. It was a pleasure to write, because there were so many things that I did need to research and to kind of like live with for a while. And so I did that. I actually started in the East with some of the Japanese symbols, and I made my way all the way through North America, into some of the Native American symbolism. And along the way, there are quite a few ascended masters in here, deities that really are here to serve humanity. So they're in the deck too. I find them to be very strong and positive symbolism for this card deck. And so using this as an oracle, oracle cards are predictive, right? So when we use oracles, they alert us to either an opportunity or a potential energy that is around us. And so pulling cards from this card deck, for instance, there might be, I'm going to share a couple of the cards for you, but this one I find always comes up a lot. This is card number 33, Fortuna. And so she is the goddess, Roman goddess of the Wheel of Fortune. And so, you know, when we align with the energies of that Wheel of Fortune, just like the tarot, we have this potential to use that timing in our lives, right? So this might come up for somebody, and it might be like, oh yeah, take a look at the timing of what's happening in your life. Is this the optimal time? What part of the process are you in? And so that is the predictive nature of some of these cards to guide us, you know, maybe highlighting that we are entering a particularly fortunate period. So we need to be ready for opportunities that are coming. And so she's just one of the deities that kind of reigns over. And I did want to say, as I mentioned, that since everything has a vibration, we know this, right, through science and physics, that everything has a vibrational energy. And we know that there is an energetic field, of course, in the universe, and that everything, including us, has an energy field. So when we start to invite things that have that energy, right, of positivity, good fortune, abundance, whatever it is that you're after these days or thinking about, we have the ability to magnetize it more towards us, right? So I always think about, you know, probably each of us has a friend or someone in their life who kind of has that black cloud, right? That poor person that's always, something's always happening for them. And, you know, it dawns on me sometimes that their thoughts, right, may be in a place, for someone I'm thinking of in particular, their thoughts may always be in that place of negativity. Why is this happening to me? You know, this lower energy of where their thoughts are residing, what they're inviting in, what they're aligning with. And so what happens is they're attracting what they're thinking. And so this is intentional work, of course. But if we think about it on the laws of vibration, when we reside at a certain level, we're going to attract things at that level. So I'm sure many of you who are listening or here are thinking about, how can I attract more abundance into my life? Aren't we all? We all want to attract more abundance. How can I attract more love into my life? How can I attract more good luck, more opportunities, right? We have to be in that energy. We have to be open to that energy to come in. And I do believe that this card deck will help us. It certainly has been incredibly helping me, and I'm going to explain a few ways that I've been using it outside of traditional readings. So each card, I believe each of these cards has a vibrational quality that you can connect to visually and through an intentional practice. And that's part of what's in the book that we've written. So ways to use the deck. A one card random pull to see what can assist you in the present moment is always a great way to learn about it. That's something that I do literally every day here. I have a little altar here set up with all of my favorite objects, some of my personal deities and teachers that I work with. And I pull a card every day to see what the message is for me. You can also select a card intentionally, and I encourage people to do that. For instance, if you decided that you wanted to work with Isis, right, the great goddess mother of ceremonial magic, of the mystery schools, really of expanding your third eye and your consciousness, you might take this card and leave it out, creating a little altar or something around that. I wear the Ankh. I actually took a trip this summer to Glastonbury and spent some time down there in a pilgrimage, at the tour and all of the great, amazing goddess places there. And so that connection feels very strong to me by wearing this lucky charm, right? This lucky symbol. But maybe there is a visual aspect for you to remind yourself. So you could use this card deck intentionally to what you're feeling, what's calling you. You might need, I have them all out here, just trying to think. You might need some money, right? You might need the pot of gold. And so you might put the pot of gold out and put that on your, so that might be like a new moon kind of intentional thing. Like, I need some financial money, right? We have the money frog in this deck. We have citrine, which is a crystal energy that draws money. So these are other ways to use the cards other than the traditional way of doing card readings, which is outlined in the book. So placing a card on your altar or your place of work for a certain period of time will help your mind go back to that over and over again, right? That's where we get into the thoughts, into the patterning of the thoughts. So those are some ways to work with it. I also like to use the cards as kind of a icing on the cake for some other card readings that I do. So if I was working either with a tarot or other oracles, I might pull a card from this deck to add into that, or several cards from this deck. How can we change, this path? What do we need to know to bring more auspiciousness and luck into our lives? These are ways of looking at it. And so that is another way that you can weave it into what you're already doing. But you certainly can use this deck as a standalone. So like I said, a 1 card I offer in the booklet. There's a 5-card reading, 3-card reading that you can work with to see things that are opportunities for you, maybe things that you are not aware of, and things that you would like to draw a little bit closer into your energy field, into your into your world, and start to manifest, because in essence that's really what we want to be doing. So if you are somebody who is working with cards already, it's something that you can weave into your practices that you're already doing. If you're somebody who's just curious about how to create more in your life, how to manifest more in your life, this is a perfect card deck to go down that area. So in the book, and I'm just going to share a little bit, and then we're going to do some practices that come out of this. So in the box we have 44 cards. As I said, about a third of them or more, maybe half and half, are deities, gods, goddesses, different ascended masters, and people that are associated with auspiciousness, healing, and luck. And the other cards range from Japanese all the way through the East to West, and then very common symbols that we all know. The book is 200 pages, so it's a full color book. And in the book, there is explanation not only about each of the deities or symbols. There's a message, so there's a spiritual message in here, and there's also a practice. So, for instance, if you wanted to go deeper, we'll look at Tara. So, great white Tara comes out of the Buddhist deities, and so there's many Taras, right? There's quite a few. We chose to do white Tara. She's the Tara that comes like really when you call her right away, and you need immediate help, and you want to invite that help to come in and assist you. And so one of the practices is simply using her mantra, and so it's outlined in the book how you would go about not only aligning with that energy of swift action, but how to strengthen your bond, right, with a symbol or with somebody who's here. So I chose a few cards to kind of share with you. But I'm going to just share the first card in the deck, which I thought was so interesting. Hopefully you guys can see this. Go right to the camera. So this came out of the Japanese symbols. It's called the amoebi, and it's kind of like a little woman. She's kind of funny. She's got like a corn nose. She's not exactly, warm and fuzzy looking. And she was a Japanese kind of symbol to ward off negative energy, to ward off illness and disease. And so when COVID came, she became hugely popular again. And so this is just like a very straightforward symbol, actually, to ward off any kind of ill health or negative effects from the external world. And so in Japan, people started to draw her and just post her picture up. So it's just as simple as her picture, her image, that will, negate the negative energies. And so some of the symbols really are as simple as that, right? And so if you felt like you were under threat, and or you have a concern about your immune system, about your health or wellness, it might be something that you adopt into having around that would kind of ward off anything that was negative energy. So some of these things really did seem to align with the time frame when we created the card deck, and they were very interesting. And the things that really stick in my mind, that might be a little tool for your toolbox. So we're gonna just have a little bit of explore a little bit of the symbols together, and experience them on a little bit more of a meditative level, a little bit of more experiential level. Then you might see how you might use this deck in an expanded way. So the first card that I thought I would feature is number 35, which is the Hopi hand. And so there's a little bit about Hopi Native American tribe in the card deck, of course. And the Hopis are very sophisticated. They also have been jumping timelines for quite some time. So that's not a new concept for Hopi. In fact, I've been to Hopi tribe land, and when you go there, there's a sense of timelessness. It's almost like there are like no clocks. You don't quite know what's happening. That feeling I did have also in Glastonbury. I don't know if anybody can relate to that, where you have to stop in a moment of time there when you're kind of in between times and say to yourself, where am I? When am I? What's happening here? So the Hopi hand is a symbol. It's also a pretty common symbol for people who do healing work. So it comes out of Native American tradition, but this is a universal symbol around the world, right? When we see that spiral on the inside of the hands, the different images. And so the centers of your palms are minor chakras for the heart. And so, the initial message is the sacred hand of spiritual power and healing is waving over you now. So a pull of this card initially would mean hands-on healing work. You either may need to be doing it, receiving it, and or practicing it with somebody. So it might be a call to action. It also can be a call to action to use hand mudras, which we're going to practice together. We're going to work on a little bit on getting our elements balanced here today. And the third practice that's outlined in the book, which I really like a lot, is to use this idea of the sacred spiral, which comes out of not only Native American traditions, but many traditions, right, of the labyrinth of that going inward, exploring the inner spaces. So we're going to just do a little energy reset. So you can put down whatever you have there. Maybe if you're seated, make sure your feet are on the ground. And we're going to start, and we're just going to start by closing our eyes for a moment and just finding your breath. So rub your hands together as you do this and just activate the energy of your hands. So the reason why hands-on healing is such has so much power, right, is because we are tapping into the heart chakra through the palms of our hands, right? And so if that energy of your heart can come out through the palms of your hands, wow, that's an amazing potential. And so you could do what I'm doing. It's just activating those minor energy centers in the palms of your hands. And then we're going to connect our thumbs with our pinky fingers. We're going to start here. So the other three fingers are fairly straight, and the palms can open if that feels okay for you. And we're activating our water element here, Jala Mudra. Each of the fingers is connected to a different element. And since we are made of all of the elements, we have a ability here to connect to all of the elemental energy within our body by doing some of these hand practices. So just breathing in, touching the thumb tip to the pinky tip, and taking a few nice deep breaths and just feeling the sensation of this in your physical body. And if it feels okay to have your eyes closed, just notice how your breath maybe moves or shifts. We're activating our elemental energy here. So much of the Native American traditions and Native American healing practices are centered around the elements. And then you got to release the thumb and the pinky finger, and you got to touch the thumb to the fourth finger or ring finger. This is the earth element. And you can turn the palms up, or you can just have it hands resting like I do, facing each other. And just notice any sensation or difference when you move to that. From pinky to index finger, you might feel more sensation in the lower limbs of your body, maybe the grounding of your feet. Just notice how your breath is flowing. Maybe you can feel the breath flowing downward. We start to activate the earth element in our physical body and our energy field. And then we're going to move on, releasing the thumb and that fourth finger, and touch the middle fingers now, right? So it looks like this. The other fingers are fairly straight, however it works in your body, right? Everybody's hands are different. And we're coming into the space mudra called Akash mudra. So we're in the space element now. That space element is the upper energy centers, right? So we're connecting to the cosmos, we're connecting to all that is above this 3D world that we're in. Just let yourself feel the sensation of that. You might feel and find your breath more in the upper part of your body, in your face, your eyes, your crown. Just noticing sensation there. And then you're going to release the middle finger and connect your index finger and your thumb. So most people know this hand mudra, right? Jan mudra or Gyan mudra. And this is the mudra of the air element. So we're connecting to the air element. And in the air element is our mental thoughts. That's why we use this mudra for meditating. So just bringing awareness maybe to the third eye, between your eyebrows. Just noticing you're rewiring your elements here today. And then slowly releasing that. And for the last one, we're going to take the thumbs, let the fingers curl in gently, and just connect the tips of your thumbs, right? Like you have two little fists and the thumbs tips are touching. Relax your shoulders down. You'll let your hands drop down for this one. The thumbs are the fire element. So that element of doing, of action, right? They're in the thumbs. You just notice where this energy goes now as you feel that connection of your two thumbs. And then slowly, as you're ready, release that and just give your hands a little shake. So that's just a different version of working with the Hopi hand. In the booklet, I actually suggest doing the labyrinth meditation. There's so many practices that tie into so many of these symbols and things. So it's hard to choose. So I offer you that, so you'll have two if you want to work with that energy. If you are a body worker, hands-on healer, and do that, I encourage you to use hand mudras to activate your energy, to to think about, energizing through the palms of your hands, connecting to your heart. All of those things are really potent, really powerful energies. So we're going to move on to the next symbol that I offer. Number 14, the Ankh. And so most of us know this symbol, right? The Egyptian cross, some people call it. It's actually viewed as key. And it was through a lot of time, of course, it's an ancient symbol, thought to be the key to the afterworld, right? It was put into the tombs, it was put into the mummification to ensure that the spirit had a way to get from one place to the other. And in the modern times, the Ankh offers us the key to insights into the key of our own wisdom. It's not so different when we understand the idea that the soul has lived many times. And so you may think about this life where you're like, there's things that there's wisdom, higher mastery, maybe that you haven't completely accessed yet. And so we can use symbols like this to start inviting in more access, right, to our higher selves, to that higher wisdom, and to the connection to Isis, who is the mother of the mystery schools, the mother of all that wisdom and knowledge. Like I said, I wear the Ankh, but in this book I offer a practice which is more of like a little bodywork practice, and I'll see if you guys can see me. You just put your arms out like in a T. You could creating yourself like an Ankh. Think about your head as the curl of the top. You could do this sitting down, no worries. And so we're back to the hands again, right? Everything always goes back for me. The palm of your left hand is connected to your receptivity, right? Divine feminine energy flowing in here. The palm of your right hand connected to your divine masculine, your ability to give. And so the Ankh actually invites us to find this balance, masculine, feminine, right? As above, so below. Soles of the feet connect to the earth. Crown of the head connects to higher wisdom, divinity. And simply by doing some breathing exercises with your arms extended out, thinking about yourself as that Ankh, right? Pulling energy up. So we'll just try it together. Yeah, when you hang out with me, it's always like something that we're going to be doing, right? Let your arms go out, let your feet really connect to the ground. Maybe your head rises up a little bit. Think of yourself as this living, breathing Ankh, the energy of the feminine filling that whole left side of your body, and the energy of the masculine, your energy. This is your energy, right? You have this balance of both filling through the right side of the body, and then that crown of the head connecting to divinity, to the higher wisdom, right? It's right there. It's right there. We want to access it through this soul star chakra that's above the crown of our heads. And then our feet, which have this amazing ability to connect to Mother Earth, to Gaia, to that beautiful energy that emanates from the earth. So maybe just begin to take a few breaths and feel yourself as this living, breathing Ankh, the symbol of wisdom and this key to your higher wisdom, your higher soul. Energy traveling in through the palms of your hands, circulating through the crown of your head, going all the way down the body and through the legs and down into the earth. And you could follow it around, coming up one side, going to the furthest reaches of your fingers, and then back up to your shoulder, and then tracing around your head and going down the other side. And just inviting that balance, right and left, above and below, to come into the physical body. And then slowly release your arms down, and I'm giving you guys a little workout here. It's always something. What can I say? I'm a yoga meditation teacher, and I love doing these practices because our thinking minds are so smart, right? And we have so much ability to take in information and messaging here, but we need to embody things as well, right? We want to bring it into the physical body, and we want to really feel it. Once we can start to activate our energy, we can start to change our vibration. So that's kind of what we're doing on some of these short practices. And so we're going to move down from the Ankh, and we're going to come to one of my favorite cards in the deck, which is Saint Germain. And so he was like probably the last card in. We had something else here, and I had been working with the Violet Flame, and so it's a powerful message for the world right now, where we are especially. And so Sabina and I decided, yeah, Saint Germain needed to be in here and use the Violet Flame to heal and transform not only personal energy but global energy. And so we're not going to do meditative practice with this. I teach a whole class on this topic. I invite you, if you're more interested, in Saint Germain beyond this card deck, to go there, because it's pretty powerful. But really, the idea is to think about using that transmuting violet energy, which is the combination of these two energies that we just embodied, with the golden light. And that energy is so powerful and potent for us, even in consciousness, in active consciousness, to put out into the world, right? So if you, if you are out, living your life, and you're out in the public, right, and you have a job where you're working in the public, you want to put Violet Flame on, things that you're interacting with, things that you touch, things that people give to you. If you find that you have negativity in the workplace, or you need extra level of cleansing or clearing, the Violet Flame is perfect. You can just ask for it to come in, picture it in your mind, send it out into those places. So it's a very powerful practice if you say some of those invocations out loud, like I am the Violet Flame, and ask Saint Germain to give you a hand. I know people who put Violet Flame into their money, put Violet Flame onto the soles of their feet when they're traveling, going through airports. And so, as I said, this is a very intentional practice. It can be very expanded practice. In the booklet, I give some suggestions on how to work with Saint Germain. Pretty much everyone I talk to that feels a resonance with this, is kind of just magnetizes to it already. So if you keep repetitively pulling certain cards, you might find this is something that you need to be thinking about, right? I need to maybe align more with that. Maybe I need to do a little bit more research. Maybe that's a place for me to put my energies. And so, as I said, there are just so many more amazing cards, beautiful images. One of my favorites is the Bridget card that Sabina painted, which is so powerful. All right, goddess Bridget, of the fiery goddess, who assists us, especially in that manifesting phase, right? So some of them have timely places and time. Some of them are associated with certain places, like the UK, British Isles, that kind of thing. There really is something here for everybody to consider and to continually work with. The Ouroboros, the image of the snake eating its tail, regeneration. So we have a lot of that. The scarab beetle, which seems to be the card I've been pulling a lot lately, which is a call to working with the energy of the sun, and to that kind of pulling in more of that powerful solar energy. We're being bombarded on the earth right now with solar flares. I don't know if that's connected to it. The eagle feather, another Native American symbol, and then eagle connects us to that highest self once again. So there's lots of positive images. There's lots of things to play around with. There's a lot to learn in the deck. If you're curious, like I said, that you and explore and take a little bit further. So that is just a tiny little bit about auspicious symbols. I find most people who are doing readings have very or get go down that road. Many of us have very highly developed third eye chakras and, upper energy level chakras, but we kind of neglect, I want to say maybe from the heart down, let's say we neglect the lower energy centers. And if we want to really create and manifest, we need to be here on the earth, like it or not, right? So yeah, so I always start there, trying to get people back into their physical places and get their energy in alignment. And that's how we can really attract the multitude of things in. So
Yeah.
I yeah, I do think so. But I also think it's about synchronicities, and I think it's about being aware. I don't think lucky chances are random. I think when you align yourself in the right way and you do the things that you need to do for yourself, that's why I always start like with this, start here. Then we can start to magnetize those lucky things, right? And when we're in that place where something happens and we're like, I can't believe that just happened. It's probably the universe was, already conspiring to help us, right? Already conspiring to bring that closer. It's about our awareness. Honestly, it's really about our awareness. How tuned in are we? How aware are we? How much do we want something from an ego place, right? Because when we really want something, well, darn, it's really hard to get luck going at that point, right? When we're like, I gotta have that. And listen, it happens to me too. There's things that I'm like, I want that. Um, I do think a lot of the as neutral as you can be, and as giving as you can be, and as centered as you can be, you expand your lucky options. That's my honest belief. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't it isn't a typical oracle deck. You're not going to get a no stop in here. um we decided that we really wanted to empower people to find something to align with during those tough times. And listen, that's there's still a lot going on out there. There's enough negativity out there that we are already aware of. So some of the things are more healing in nature. Some of them, like you mentioned, are more lucky in nature. And some of them just give us a little tap on the shoulder and say, hey, be in gratitude. Like, this is right here. We can stop, because the mental body, the mind, is so powerful, right? What we think tends to happen, tends to be realized. That's what I said. If everyone has a friend that's one of those people under the black cloud, and we think about what their thoughts are, what their thoughts are doing, they're probably, that black cloud is like in here, And I'm not, I'm being I'm not trying to negate anybody who's had a challenge or anything that's happening in their life. So please don't, misunderstand that. We all have challenges and things that happen. But let's, if we can affect the most positive kind of ideas to leave things with, to walk away with, I think we have a chance of, accelerating our ascension, honestly, right? So if you so depending on what you like to use, if you do tarot readings or for yourself or for others, you might at towards the end, either the beginning or the end of your reading, you might pull a card from here to find out if there's some other information, something else that you need to know about or be aware about, or something that would assist you in whatever you're facing. So the tarot is is that deck of, we'll say it's the book of life, right? The tarot has everything in it. It's got the negative, it's got the positive, it's got relationships, it's got all of those things. How can we navigate that, to the highest and best of our ability? And so I like mixing cards. Honestly, I do a reading every morning with my deck, And depending on what the mode is in that reading, I'll pull cards from all different decks to kind of get a bigger picture of what I'm looking at. What is today? What do I need to be aware of, you know? So yes, I highly recommend using it as that. I also have a few friends that are healers, acupuncturists, and bodywork healers. They actually buy the decks and let their clients, patients, take one at the end of each healing as something for them to take away, because so many people are suffering. People are struggling, you know, they have health issues, they have financial issues, there's all sorts of things going on. So they find it's really helpful. People are so thrilled. They pull a card and they have something to go home and remind them, yes, that power is within me. So so that's just another, you know, gets a little costly, right? A little bit.
Yeah, no, it's
when you
great.
give the
It's great.
cards away. I do. I think I'm gonna see if I can just find it quickly, but I think there's the Sri Yantra, which is a sacred geometry. And so that's, you know, when you look visually into things, here's this card. Um, when you work with mandalas, and that's why mantra is so powerful, right? When you practice a mantra, it's so powerful because the thinking mind checks out. It's not thinking, it's not translating the words, right? It's bringing the energy in. You're calling, like if you did a Kubera mantra for the god Kubera, who's all about prosperity, and he's not in here. I don't know what happened to him, but he didn't make the cut this time. We never know. But the Sri Yantra is a sacred geometric mandala. And we know that visually looking at mandalas opens up parts of our brain that help us to access, you know, higher wisdom, higher states of consciousness. The Hopi hand, the labyrinth as well. Looking at that visual image of the hand with the circle, we think about how the Sufis, not only Native Americans, but the Sufis use that circular motion, meditative motion, to reach higher states of consciousness. So I think it bypasses the thinking mind, honestly. And I think there's some part of our subconscious mind that connects to that, just like tarot symbolism and imagery can, to give us a message that maybe we don't consciously know or understand in the moment, but that can be very powerful, you know, for our personal development. So yeah, I mean, I love using you know, Ganesh is such a, you know, Ganesh is such a powerful symbol, because we, you know, most people, even if they're, you know, you don't have, you know, knowledge of Hindu, you know, or Tibetan philosophy or any of those kind of things, most people understand the idea that Ganesh is this like very joyful, happy remover of obstacles. Like you can, you know, people have Ganesh in their cars, and you know, I have a Ganesh that's ringing, ringing its bell outside of my house. But I do think when people look at that image, they understand on some level that's like there's like somebody rooting for them, or somebody's there. Oh, everything is going to be okay. Or this picture, you know, reminds me that there is that element out there of you know, the ability to clear the path. And so that's another one. I'm trying to see what else. And this one really may really speak to you. Her, first of all, this image of the green man is so incredible and gorgeous, and just took my breath away when she made it. But what I noticed when I was in England recently, after, you know, working on this deck for, you know, a good amount of time, was how many green men I saw in the churches and different places. And it's really a call back to the earth, to environmentalism, to, we're all discussing this right now, right? What is so important that we need to do? Like Mother Earth, we need to be thinking about climate change. We need to be thinking about back to farming, thinking about, you know, the natural world, and taking care of it, honoring it, all of that. So I think it's a really powerful image also, because he's the divine masculine. And I think for the men, it's been a tough time, because, you know, the divine feminine is on the rise. But the guys are, you know, like we need these masculine symbols too. And men, especially in my understanding my practices, connect to nature very much, to animals, to nature symbolism. I think it's a great reminder of the power of that. So any of these cards really stand alone. I think some of them are really, really powerful symbols for people to either make their cultural association with, or just as a reminder of like, this is important, right? We need to pay attention to this. So yeah, I like to think the things that I've been, blessed to work on have multiple levels of, information, energy around them, and they kind of have lives of their own. I'm just the steward. Sabina and I, she did the art, but like, we're just creating this container for people to take off onto their own. Like, we don't want to claim this, you know what I mean? We don't own the symbols. Yeah.
Yeah,
If
they're
you're
lovely.
if you're interested in learning more about the mudras and all the associations of mudras, this is our first card deck that we created together, which is just an incredible, like, worldwide bestseller. It's won several awards, and then we followed up with mudras for the 5 elements. So this is based on the chakras. This is the 5 elements, and so we love working together. We kind of just have that kind of agreement about things that are important to us. And so she sold a lot of the original art from many of these decks to support various things, whether it was, I think she sold the art for this deck to support Nepal after the earthquake and humanitarian efforts. So she sold a lot of the original art to do that as well. So those are our three to date card decks together. We're working on something new. So that's great. And yeah, and some other things that I have in my little arsenal. Divine Feather Messenger, I'm not sure. I know it's in England. I've seen people reading with it. Nature and Soul Yoga Wisdom, which is a animal totem deck that's focused on merging yoga and animal totems. And I have to think about what's back there. Oh yeah, Infinite Wisdom of the Chakras, which is just all about the chakras and deeper dive into the energy body. So sure, yeah. As I said, I do work for US Games, and so I'm privileged for that. And I do, go and do seminars and workshops at various tarot conferences and things here in the US. I'm leading a retreat to Guatemala, which is we go to sacred sites, so that's coming up in 2023, and to Machu Picchu and the Sacred Valley next fall in October. And I do teach at some bigger facilities here in the US, like Kripalu Center. I'll be teaching a creative manifestation class there, because so many people approach me about their projects, their card decks, their ideas, their art, their writing. And so I'm all about helping people, number one, and also sharing tips on how to get your energy in alignment so you can manifest your dreams. So that'll be coming up. I'm gonna keep tight on the future projects. I'm working on a few things, but they're still kind of, we're still coming into form with that. So hopefully something new will be hitting the shelves by next, towards the end of 2023, something next year.
Wow.
Right? It's simply my name, AlisonDeNicola.com. And people can go there. There's a tab and there's a free mudra ebook in there. If they liked doing those practices today, there's some things in there. They could just download a free ebook there and send me a message through the website. Like I said, I'm happy to help people answer questions, give them introductions if that's potential. I do hear from people all over the world, so welcome that. Yeah. Thank you. Great
Thank
to
you.
see you. Okay, take care.
Likewise.